Hello, welcome to Drawing with Mr. Hutch. Today we're going to be talking about value. Another way of thinking about value in drawing is the shadows that we give to our objects. So this is basically going to be a video about how to shade, how to give dimension to specific shapes. We're just going to use regular three-dimensional shapes today and show you how this all plays out. Okay, so the first thing we do when we're trying to determine, focus this a little bit better, value, is we need to know where our light source is. Our light source is going to determine everything, where our shadows are, where our highlights are, etc. So for today, let's have our light source coming from the top right, going to the bottom left. That's going to be our light source. All right, so the first shape that we're going to shade today is we're going to start with a circle. All right, let's see if this focus is a little bit better. Maybe I'll turn the lights on. It's a better focus. All right, like I said, we're going to start with a sphere or a circle. If you have something circular that you would like to trace, that works. I also like to get you to practice making freehand shapes because the more you do, the better you'll get at it. So let's draw ourselves a circle to start. Okay, so there's our circle. And we know our light's coming here like this. Bit of a angle. Okay, so this is going to be our highlight. And as we go to the side, it's going to get darker and darker and darker. All right, so what I like to do is I'll maybe start working with the darkest shades first and then work to the light. So if I know that my light is coming this way and hitting here, then the opposite side here is where our darkest shadows are going to be. So let's start with our darkest shadows down here. Now we determine how dark our shadows are by how hard we press with our pencil. I always like to start by pressing a little bit lightly because we can always make it darker. It's hard to make it lighter. I mean, we do have our pencil, but we want to try and get really good with our, we have our eraser, but we want to try and get really good with our pencil. Like any tool, the more you use it, the better you get at it, right? So we're going to start with kind of this crescent shape shadow that is on the opposite side from where our light is hitting. And then as we move towards the light, we're always going to kind of move in this crescent moon shape as we go around, okay? And you can kind of really separate them out at first. So that there's not a real blend between these, just so that you can kind of start to see where the different values are. As we get closer and closer to that highlight, we're getting lighter and lighter. Okay, now I'm going to go back, have a rough kind of idea of where my values are, and then I'm going to go work back and forth between the different areas. Right, I'm going to go back down here, and I'm going to darken up a bit. And then as we move forward, start to blend in these different sections of value. It's just a matter of kind of going back and forth. The more practice you have with this, the more you start to see where the blending needs to happen, where the values need to be lighter, where the value needs to be darker. This you get really good at. The more you're looking at different objects, identifying highlights, identifying shadows. They say drawing is mostly about looking and practice. So I'm going to get really dark now at this end, this side, kind of pressing quite hard there. All right, and then just blending our shadows into each other. So it's a gradual shift from dark to light. The more you understand how light wraps around different shapes, the more dimension you're going to be able to give to all of your drawings. Everything that you draw is made up of basic shapes. And if it's three-dimensional, light is going to wrap around it. And so that's what we're looking for. We're trying to identify how light drapes itself over different objects. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. You can go in with your finger if you really want to get that nice blended effect. So you can start to see we've got a nice sphere there. And you could even erase that planning line right where that highlight is, and that really starts to bring out the highlights and look a little bit more formed. Okay. So now we've got how the light is wrapping around the object to give us a sphere, globe. Okay. Now the next part of value or shading is how does this shape affect, or how does this shape cast a shadow? So again, we're coming from this direction, then we're going to have a shadow that creates kind of a squashed circle like that. And again, it's a very similar process. We're going to start the darkest darks are going to be right underneath this sphere. And this is really going to put this shape into the environment. because without a shadow, it just looks like it's floating in air. This allows it to sit within a landscape, within an environment, on a table, okay? And then as we get further away from the shape, it gets lighter and lighter. And again, same process, just kind of going back and forth, trying to blend those to a gradual shift in value from dark to light. Okay, go in with my finger, blend it a little. Okay, and then come back in. You can erase that planning shape, that squashed circle. Kind of identified where our shadow is going to be. There you go. And I'm going to erase my identifying the root of the light. And there we go. We have a value shape. Darken it up a little bit. You guys will start to recognize that I have a terrible habit of not being able to leave my drawings alone. Okay, so that's the goal for today. Today we're looking for you to take a shape, using value, turn it into a three-dimensional shape, okay? So I've done a circle. What I would like to see from you is I would like you to try a circle, and I would like you to try a square, which would become a cube. Okay. So I would like you to try on your own, follow the circle, and then I'd also like you to try to create a value out of a value cube. Okay, so this is your assignment. Draw circle, add value. Draw cube, add value. Okay, your cube, very similar process. Start with our cube, light's hitting it from this side. This is going to be the light. I'll do it really quick. To the dark, light, to dark. Okay, and then this side you'd have a bit of light here and working to dark. Okay, there's a quick example, but I'd like you to have two larger shapes, one on each page. One circle turned into a globe and one cube with value. Right on, people. Thank you very much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing your work.